every week here at STFU, we do a special thing. We have a featured performer. There is a lot of talent in the DFW area and people coming through, so we like to give one person every week a little bit more extra time to show you what they can really do and let you get to know their act and them as a person. This next comic coming to stage is your featured performer of the night. I also will personally give him MVP. I've known this comic, I think, since he started doing comedy, since I moved to Texas in the last 4 years. He has improved massively. He is a good friend of mine. He is a kind person, and he's a fucking funny man. Put your hands together for David Merriken.
I got to pick my own walk-up music. Felt appropriate. How you guys doing tonight? Good. Can I get one more hell yeah from Mana for putting up with us every week, letting me feature this time? This is my first time getting to feature somewhere, so I was super jazzed to come out here for you guys tonight. Yeah. I was all excited all week. I actually individually invited over 100 people to come to see me tonight. Can I get a show of hands? Who showed up because I invited you personally? One. Awesome. It's nice to know I have that kind of pull at this point in my comedy career. It's really great. All right, so my father is probably the most stubborn man in the world. Absolutely true. When he was a young man, he rode a bicycle from California to Maryland simply to collect on a $5 bet. If there was a thin blue line in real life, Kenny Merriken would learn ballet just to pirouette upon it more gracefully. I swear, this is like true stories. His autobiography would be called The Art of the Argument, How to Never Let Go. I'm gonna write that for him when he dies, if he just quits holding on to life so hard. So what I'm really trying to tell you is that one simply does not win an argument against Kenny Merriken. The closest I've ever come in my personal experience is to use his own words against him. You know, we've all been there when we were younger and we did foolish things, and you get the angry speech, the red face, and this is my house and these are my rules. You will need to stop smoking pot in my bathroom. You know? I'm the only one? Like y'all smoked outdoors or some shit? That's fine, Twilight. I'm not judging if you're like an herbalist on the outside. That's fine. I had to wait 5 years to get him back with that. I held on to it because I come by that stubbornness naturally. And it was college, and I had my own apartment, and he was going to show up for Christmas. And I'm pretty sure I can't see myself in that video anymore. I'm just going to get the back of that dude's head for the rest of this set. What?
We got you.
Love you guys. Fucking Mana. That's great. I know my love, dude. Thanks for coming up front. Normally, whenever you're doing these sets, like nobody's up here. Everyone just stares at you from the back of the room behind the Christmas lighting. It's pretty great. Like, it really helps you get it all together. So my dad shows up for Christmas. He's there, and it's the greatest Christmas gift I've ever gotten. Absolutely wonderful. I had preloaded a giant bowl, a 6-foot glass bowl, packed it full of pot, waited for him to sit down, and I light it like a champion. He's sitting next to me on the couch and just waited. I know you're not smoking the devil's grass, David. I know you're not. I'm like, hey, this is my house, my rules. He's like, that's fine, just stop blowing it in my face. I'm kidding, my bad. That also was the day I started the 10-year argument with my father. I was a little high, and I forgot who I was talking to, and I might have let it slip just a little bit that maybe the government has just a little too much control over our lives. Just a touch, maybe they're too serious, too much tyrannical power. And you can just like clockwork go ahead and kick off every conservative phrase that you've ever heard in your life. You're absolutely not talking about the police like that. Your grandfather was a cop. What if he was here to hear you say that, David? Well, I hope he couldn't hear me say that. He's been dead for 10 years, Dad. That'd be a real weird conversation, wouldn't it? I was like, plus, you would never lie to an officer. They're from the government. They're here to help you. And that continued every time that I talked to my dad. Every time we spoke about it, he would wait, but he never lets go of anything. So he would bring it up just quietly and be like, just want to let you know, Dave, I still remember the government doesn't have too much control. So I was ecstatic last week. This actually really happened last week, so this is a fresh one for me. And my phone rings, and I hear a less than brash voice on the phone. Dave, I just wanted to to maybe mention I saw a couple of these videos. I think it was a World Star or something. And maybe you were a little bit right. And I'm like, ha-ha! I'm jumping around, and then I remembered I'm in public, and maybe I can't be chanting out, the cops are gonna get it, the cops are gonna get it. In a public location, probably not the best of things. But then I realized, I'm in freaking Walmart. I'm holding like a table in one hand, an imitation crab in the other hand. This is the perfect place to roll back that conversation. So in honor of my father, I love that man very much. My foundation, which will fight against the government, is going to be named after him. I'm going to call it PAPA, for Patriots Against the Patriot Act. If you read up more on that, it's a lot funnier. Look, I really don't have a problem with the law, because I can see the skeptical looks over here. Just sometimes it's nice to be wanted, you know? Like if you're ever feeling down and out, you can just flip off a cop, drive through a red light, and they'll remind you constantly for the next couple of weeks that they're a part of your life and they care too. Or if you want to get real serious with it, is anybody drinking tonight? Yeah, you ever get too drunk? Like me last night at the Tin Panther?
Hell yeah.
Huh? I closed that tab today. You know what to do if you get too drunk, right? You just drive around till you sober up. That's the long-term care program. They are going to dick with your lives for a while. And they really do. They get mad at you right from the start, take away your ID. You're like, you can't drive anymore. Well, joke's on them. I've gotten way more fucked up in an Uber than I have ever got driving my own vehicle. And those two ladies in the back understand. Or you drive people around like me that are hammered. I'm sorry, Tommy. And then they started making you do all these classes, and you have to go to all this paperwork, and they're like, every night of the week, we're gonna send you to our state-sponsored church, Alcoholics Anonymous. It is. It's like they rounded up the back row of every church I've ever been to and put them all into this one room. And they're my people, man. I love these guys. And the judge gave me a hard time about that too. He's like, good. Do you feel like we're putting pressure on your life? I said, no, sir. This is actually the most social I've been in years. I really appreciate the ability to go out and enjoy it. I thought the best part of being sober when I drove around was going to be that you get to talk shit to the cops now, because they ain't got shit on me. I get to just talk to them. But from that, I immediately learned that free speech is super expensive. It's bad. Like next time you get pulled over, just start running your mouth for a little bit and see how many times he writes you another ticket. I stopped at $4,000 because that was my credit limit. If you think that's bad, next time you're sitting in the courtroom, say one word to the judge. That's going to cost you a week in the cell. I made new friends, so it's okay. No, if you have outside knowledge and a little bit of a tan, they like you when you're in there. It's good times. I traded crackers and soup. It was good. Clearly, I have a confused idea about what affection is in my life. I think I was in love once, but then all of the blood just rushed back to my head. But in my defense, I thought she was my dream girl. We were having a real conversation. We had locked eyes. We were talking for a while, even before we had had sex. And we just got so into this moment, it was like the music just stopped. I'll be damned if she didn't stand up and ask me for another 20. Thank you. Hell yeah. There's not a lot of good things I can say about my ex. But I can say this, she probably won't survive any major illness that makes her take medication. Because she's incapable of swallowing. I was actually the last, I'll let that one settle into your stomachs. We'll get back to this in a second. I was down in Mexico, and I picked up a chick while I was down there, and apparently I do much better with women that don't speak English. Yeah, it was great. And I made it through the whole night just telling her, like, "Tu es bonita, me llamo David." And that's all I said for like 3 hours, but it was a club, so... That was just me trying to walk upstairs that drunk. And we finally get back to the place that we called the Casa, and we start hooking up, and we get right there to like naked time. You know, it's going great. We're having a wonderful time, and she stops me in perfect English. Says, David, I have to tell you something. And only like half the blood was in my brain at that point. So I wasn't thinking clearly, and I immediately went to the dark places. I was like, it's herpes, AIDS. You're gonna have a dick bigger than mine. Like, something's gonna happen. It's not gonna be good. Like, shut up, Dave. Just let her talk. And she's like, hey, I just wanna let you know, I'm only 19. Oh no, that's fantastic. Let's do this. Hey, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 33. Stop stopping the show. Let's go. Oh, sweet. I'm actually doing as well as I thought I was going to do. That's great. Thank you for all the people I personally invited and mentioned earlier. I'm glad you're all here. You guys are all wonderful. I did actually have a date. I'm going to tell you an intimate truth about myself. This is the last date I went on was last year for Valentine's Day. So it's a little bit of sadness for you to build you into the story, develop some character. And it was wonderful. We were having a great night. We were having a wonderful time together. And towards the end of the night, we started making out a little bit. And she stops me in the middle. I don't know why that keeps happening to me, but it seems consistent. And she's like, David, I have to tell you something. I'm like, yeah? She goes, I'm actually polyamorous. Does anybody in here know what that means?
Yes.
Hell yeah. One person up front. Thank you, sir. For the rest of you guys, you're going to learn something tonight. It's not all comedy, there's a little education in here. Polyamory is actually the ability to have an open relationship, honestly, with anyone you want at any point, as long as you tell all of your partners about it, and that you're open and honest, so you can love anyone in the world except yourself. And I think I handled that situation like a gentleman. I pulled the car over slowly. I opened the door, told her, get out the car, whore! But looking back on it, that was a pretty bad move for me, you know? Because I got home and I realized she might be polyamorous, but I'm actually polyhumorous, you know? Right now in the DFW area, there's not a single crowd that I would rather be spending my time with. Like, you guys, yeah, you do. All sounds and all. You guys mean the world to me. Like, there's the sweet people in front, the tiny cussing from an older lady. Like, these things are things I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. But on another night of the week, I might need to see different crowds. I have to go other places. I just need a different giggle to make my belly jiggle. All right. I always like talking about love, and I have to talk about the best example of love that I've ever seen. And that is my grandma and grandpa. They actually met via pen pals during World War II. And he wrote her letters, and the day he got back, he married her. And it was sweet. And they were like a cute couple all the way until they were old. They stayed together for 50 years. You really gotta like someone to put up with a half a century. And at the end, she actually got Alzheimer's disease, where old people forget things, can't remember stuff. She called me his name one time. That was a weird, different story. But for the rest of this, he actually moved into the home with her, and he would go out, and every day he would roll his wheelchair outside. He would pick her some flowers, and he would go back in and win her over like it was a first date again. Every single day. It was the sweetest thing that I've ever seen. And it gave someone like me, who's not good at love, hope, you know, for a hopeless romantic, that maybe I too can find love one day. If I can just meet someone that doesn't remember me in the morning. Thank you guys. Give it up for your host. I really appreciate y'all having me out. Y'all have a good night.